Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another installment of the Rogue Soul YouTube channel. I'm your host, Javante. I am back again with another heart to heart, another conversation, another airing of my struggles throughout life to one, keep myself accountable, and to encourage myself to keep going and to keep talking and expressing myself about these matters. Um, so today, I want to talk about winning and finding success. Winning and finding success. Now, the one thing in regards to that is that many different people view what success and winning look like as many different things. Me, I viewed winning and success as achieving full stability where I never have to worry about myself financially, achieving great standing within the community where I would be known for something that I contributed to. And I spent a very good portion of my life trying to figure out or trying to cultivate a way to achieve those. I know with as far as financial stability, it would be either going to college and getting a degree and then getting a great paying job or career and moving up in that said career, and also with gaining achievement within one's own community, something that you can give to the world and that the world would appreciate. And I used to believe that was very much an innocent thing where that should be okay. That should be what everyone wants. That's the standard, right, for people. To achievement and success, giving something back to the world, and also achieving a form of stability for oneself and one's own family. Now, with me wanting those, and me viewing my success as that, I said in a former video where I was talking about taking risk in life and with life and taking gambles on certain things. And I took a risk and I took a gamble on what I could become, a future that I could have. And again, I did not put much stock in present me. I didn't show the present me at the time much love, affection, and building up the confidence in the present me. It was just always finding a way to move forward to achieve that success. Now, over time, throughout my adulthood, even when I've gained financial stability, I started to see where, with the help of my family and, with the help of, spiritual guidance and with the help of my family, I started to see where there were cracks in my vision of success. Where financial stability, even though I've already achieved that, to me, it was not enough. So then, my family had to ask me, well, Javante, how much money would be enough? If you had 1 million, would that be enough? And I had to sit with that and understand that my answer at that point in time was no. I was hyper focused on how I was hyper focused in a poverty mindset sort of way in two ways. How can I, one, fully live my life to the fullest with the money, and and then two, how would I even spend it? I would get worried about how much it would be to sort of take care of everything, and also I would have to, what if I would need to have something to like replenish it, and that's just an example, but just both kinds of worrying. And then I had to realize, like for myself, that hell, if this isn't enough, and you're able to provide and take care of yourself and everything, and basically afford what you want in life right now, it would never be enough. There's always going to be more and more and more that you're going to feel that you need. You're going to be stuck in a cycle where you're only living life just for that one specific thing. Only living life for financial stability. And I even had to learn, this is something that I'm learning with achievement, with wanting that fame, with wanting that glory, with wanting that, I developed sort of a bad personality, over time. I developed crass behaviors. I developed very much a deep-seated jealousy of people. And I also, with the things that I truly wanted in life, never took the risk or gamble to pursue those. But I tried to pursue other means of success that I felt I would be good at, It was at one point where I felt I would be great at politics. Now, that was a long time ago, at close to the end of high school. And I even went to college for politics right after, for my first year. And I was learning everything that I needed to learn in regards to it. I had absorbed and sort of mimicked, what I saw on television, like actually like real television and movies too. I used to watch, West Wing, House of Cards, and shit like that. And I used to see stuff like on like news or watch political correspondence and keep up with the political nature of like the country to sort of like see how it shakes and move. Um, of course, taking at, what do you call that, government and economics classes, within school, doing an internship and job shadowings at the local government offices, and sort of like learning how things work. And also taking a chance to build up a notoriety. And I tried to do that through backdoorish tendencies. I felt, of course, at that point in time, with me being a gay man, of course, it's no secret. I've said it in plenty of videos that I wasn't completely, I wasn't okay or completely out in regards to myself being, a gay man. I was more so just keeping that under wraps because I felt that there was something that I wanted to accomplish. There are things that I wanted to do and accomplish in this lifetime, and I didn't want that to hold me back in a way. I didn't want to be just judged based off of that. I started to recognize the stigmas that come with, being a gay person in society, and I just didn't want that, attached to me because there were things that I wanted to do. There are things that I wanted to contribute. There are things that I wanted to master. There are things I wanted to be taught. There are things I wanted to accomplish, and I just didn't want that stained. I wanted success in life because I didn't realize at the time that, well, no, I did realize. For me and the relatives that I grew up with and around, I didn't see success. I didn't see like a version of winning. What I saw was decline. I saw was what I saw was very rigid and very unpredictable. And it was from a young age, and I felt it had to be an answer to this. It had to be a way to move forward, to not be like that, and I was going to find a way. So, yeah, when I got older, I would, get involved in a lot of political organizations and stuff like that. I would interview different political people in different political positions and, get their take on things about starting a career in politics and, the different ways of going about that. And I remember sitting across from one councilman, and this is when I was going to college, and I was in a rural area, and I believe he was the only black councilman for the area, the only one, I believe. Either he was the only one or he was like one of two. Like it was very, very few in this rural area. And I remember sitting across from him, and I'm interviewing him, and I'm getting his take on things, and asking him about his experience. And he's asking me, about mine and how, just asking me about mine and, my interest in everything. And I'm laying it all out there, and I'm asking him these different questions about, how did you get started? How did you make it happen for you in a county such as this? How, and I'm asking, and I'm throwing out, different ways, Did you have to get behind, someone that was already prominent in the county and sort of like work your way up and gain like support that way, and then to where like they would end up backing you? Did you, do it this way? Did you do it that way? Just to see, because I was genuinely curious as far as like how that would work, and because I was seeking to gain it any in any capacity. I didn't want to let different variables stop me, but I called myself a realist, and I didn't want to hinder my chances, with life. And I remember I asked a particular question, and he said back to me, and he had smirked and he had laughed, and he said, well, honestly, just based off this interview and based off of, talking to you, you seem to have a pretty good handle on how everything works. Like, you seem to really know your stuff, with how you handle yourself through, setting the process of setting this up and going through this and the questions you asked and everything. There's nothing really more I can give you. And I didn't know how to take that at that time. At the time I'm like, no, okay, dude. Well, thank you for your time. But I didn't know how to take that at that time. My mind was so focused, and it's been like this for forever, on finding a purpose, finding something to do, to make achievement at, to do something that, wow, people are impressed with your work. You did a good job, Javante. I didn't notice how detrimenting that was for me, to be in a mindset of seeking things only based on outside approval, whether it be in career, whether it be in your personal life. And I had to sit with, that's how I viewed achievement, was through outside gratification. And because I wasn't taking a gamble and putting stock in myself, at those ages, and only putting stock in what could be, of possible futures, of, what I could become, of, different possible personalities and different ways of being and everything. Instead of taking a shot on myself, I didn't realize how of detriment that was to me. And over life, so far, I've just been stuck and, with working through my struggles and my issues currently. I'm working through a lot of what would you call it, issues pertaining to like appearances, like keeping up appearances and images of yourself. Instead of putting stock in loving myself, I put stock in loving what I could be and what I could become in order to achieve what I wanted. And I use the politics like as an example of, again, seeking that outer validation. I wanted to, even if I wasn't like a main character on the main stage, like a mayor or a governor or, you know, council person, I wanted to make a name for myself in being a significant advisor, you know, working my way through like maybe to a good chief of staff position or chief advisor position. It was a point in time where I wanted to work in the State Department. It was a point in time where I wanted to be Secretary of State one day, it was, but it was all through gaining approval. Like, well, Javante, you did something good. I wanted the people around me to be like, good job. You did good, kid. And I wasn't telling myself that myself. I was too focused on, I gotta do something to where it matters, to where people would tell me that. And, just with going through my different struggles now, I realized a lot of times, even, with growing up, a lot of times I didn't have that word counted. With the relatives that I grew up with, I wasn't told good job unless I was doing something that they wanted, like sports or, having the highest grades. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to have the highest goddamn grades because I don't give that much goddamn shit about schooling that much. I'm only doing this because it's what I have to do. And, I want to make it out there. Sports, I believe I said in a previous video, if I didn't, you'll hear it here first. Like, I only did basketball basically to get everybody to shut up about me doing a sport back then. And yeah, I played basketball. Yes, I won a few trophies and everything, but it wasn't something that I cared to do as far as, an activity. I was happy that it was something that got me out of the house. I liked the talking to different people and the different boys that at the time when I was a child. I liked that there was ice cream at the end of every damn day, basically. I like that. I like the camaraderie. Didn't care for the sport. It's not something that I wanted to do. Not something I planned on doing. And eventually, even when I got to high school, and I would try out and I would do these different programs, it was different leadership programs and, different extracurriculars that, I felt would look good. I was in class office, I was in student council, I did this, I did that. I did a lot of different things in school, in high school. And I'm like, well, this is what I'm interested in. It's like I was into, radio and television. So, I did broadcasting things. And I remember I wanted a radio internship. And I applied for it. And I didn't have at the time, any clothes and stuff like for an interview and everything. Because I was young. It was before I had started working. And I was in ROTC at the time. I believe I was like a sophomore in high school. Yeah, I was a sophomore in high school, and I went in my ROTC uniform, which was, of course, it was Air Force ROTC, so it's navy blue. It was like, suit, pants, and the shoes and everything. So I went in that because it was the only, like clothings that I had. And um, yeah, my mom didn't take me to get, any clothes for, but at least she did take me there for the interview. I went inside and I did the interview, and the interview, I honestly think this was my first ever interview. And I did the interview. I was talking to the lady, and she was telling me all about the program. I was like, yes, I'm very much so interested. I do this program and that program. I do morning announcements at my school. I do this, that, really going into like, yes, and I would very be grateful for like the opportunity, and learning and growing and, working my way up. And it wasn't a long interview. I don't even think it was 30 minutes. I don't even really think I don't think it was any longer than like 15. And I was happy. I felt it went good. I felt, the lady that did my interview, she was very nice, very kind, very cordial and everything, you know. And I came outside, I called, my mother, and I was like, oh, can you come back? Are you outside still? Or, I don't know where you are, but I'm done. And she was like, you're done that fast? I said, well, yeah. She was like, well, typically when you're done that fast, that doesn't mean that, that means that they didn't really care for you. And I was like, what? She's like, yeah, usually if it's not like a long interview where, they keep like wanting to like have conversation with you and like wanting to ask you questions or whatever, it's like they're not interested. And I got in a car when she came, and well, when I got out I was like, all right, girl, let me back it up. When I got off that phone, I was, I didn't realize at the time how devastated I was. So, because this is something that I really wanted, and I understand this wasn't like a job, this was like an internship, but I didn't care about being paid for it. You know, this was something that I was just interested in, and I wanted to learn and do. And I felt everything was great, and then instead of, just receiving that encouragement or, well, it's good that you applied, good job, we'll wait and see. I felt I immediately got told, it was just like, oh, well, it sounds like they didn't want you because it was over that quickly. And I didn't know anything about interviews at the time. I just knew what I wanted to try to do. I was a kid, a sophomore in high school. I was still learning shit in my own right. And I remember getting in the car, and I was so angry and upset. And surely enough, I got the email back, stating that they did go with somebody else. And surely enough, I didn't really grieve that. Not, I don't know if grieve is the right word, but I didn't really grieve it at all. I sort of just, I hardened myself, and I just used it as fuel to push me into doing things to sort of push me into gaining achievement in different ways. And I've kept those feelings and those things throughout, my adult life, not necessarily remembering the reasons why or going back into that or whatnot, but remembering those experiences and remembering to me, what you have to do with those experiences when stuff like that comes about. I remember what to do after the fact. Like, you've been here before, you know what to do. You do it. You harden yourself and you keep on going. And you don't. And I end up cutting myself off from expressing. So I never. And that was just one out of, a lot of examples of, when I felt I didn't receive that encouragement. Even before the interview, it wasn't well, that's good, Javante, I'm glad to see, like, you're interested in stuff. I know it's been, tough for you finding, something for you, but I'm happy that you're trying. I'm happy that you're doing it. I didn't receive that before or after. It was just like, hey, I'm really interested in doing, like, this radio thing, this radio internship. I was wondering, I was able to, I sent in the application and everything, and I got an interview scheduled. Would you mind taking me? And it was just, okay. But it was like that for all of the things all the extracurriculars that I tried to get into, But I would notice, like, for my sisters or my cousins, it was more, it was a celebration. Every goddamn thing they did while coming up. And I was just like, damn. Well, you know what? I don't have to worry about this. I'm gonna be somebody. I'm gonna be somebody. I'm gonna do something amazing. And, and I say this, and none of y'all are gonna be a part of that or a part of my lives in any way. And it was a lot of things that made me come to, like, that decision. It wasn't just this facet. It was a lot of things going on at that time, like, with life, and like, those relatives aren't a part of my life anymore right now. So I say all that to to say this: success, I'm learning, success for me, and I'm trying to keep this in the forefront. I'm learning that success for myself at this point in my life, and just period, point blank, from here on out, is me actually getting to be myself and express myself. And not based off of what I can achieve, not based off of how stable I am, not based off any appearance that I want to cultivate for people, for outside validation. It's me loving myself, being in tune with myself, and me being me presently, and just all throughout the rest of my life, being who I am at that present moment in time, and loving me regardless of anything. I felt for a long time that I wasn't enough, that I had to have achievement, and that I had to have that financial stability, that I had to have these things, these different things, and go about it in different ways, whether it be, sneaky, whether it be any kind of way other than going through the front door in order for me to have success. I felt that I had to go about success through alternative ways. You know, that I felt people wouldn't accept me for how, I looked. So I would have to go about it a different way. That's just how I felt. Whether it was true or not remains to be. Probably wasn't, but that's how I felt at that time. So that I'm learning to find success in being myself fully and full-fledged, and not basing success just based off of accomplishments or based off of outer validation. So I say that to continue to encourage myself to move forward and continue doing that, to continue putting that in the forefront. And of course, anybody else that decides to, watch this or, may feel like they can relate to any of these things, I encourage them to. You don't have to seek outer validation in different ways in your life that doesn't have to be your measure of success, And also, whatever you do in life, if you don't, and I mean, I'm learning this for myself, so I'm saying you, but I'm actually talking to me as well. I have to tell myself, Javante, and my family tells me this too, if you don't believe in it, if you don't believe it's successful, if you don't believe that you're successful, is it really worth anything to you? I had to learn that I had to believe in that it was successful in order for it to be successful, and not based off of outer validation. I had to believe that it was okay for me to be me without outer validation, And I had to just go about life not just seeking a win, because I feel like I'm always losing in different ways. I'm still learning that too. I'm still going through that process. I'm going through a lot of processes right now of learning and growing and dismantling old behaviors and building up new behaviors and new patterns to try to, move forward in the best way for myself. And I want to continue to build upon me accepting and loving me and seeing myself as I am enough, and that is the success. That I am making it, and I'm not just surviving, I'm also thriving. I don't have to be in this survivor mentality, because I'm past just surviving. I'm doing pretty goddamn well for myself, and see the success in that, and that I can do whatever it is that I choose that I want to do, and if I put forth the actual work and effort, and not just be like, oh, I didn't get it on the first try, and so it must not be meant to be. If I put forth the actual work and effort, And I believe in myself. What anything that I do will be successful, can be successful, has the chance of being successful. So I encourage that of myself, and I encourage that in anyone that may, come across this video, you know. And I'm very thankful for you guys that, decided to watch, you know, if you did. And I'm very thankful for myself for, to myself for taking this time to like open up and express these things. Like I said in a lot of my earlier videos, it's hard for me to talk about a lot of things in my life and bring up a lot of things in my life. I'm not real fine. I'm getting better of just expressing that out to others. It's always been difficult for me. Um, but I'm still working through it. I'm getting through it. I'm still putting out these videos, these video blogs, video recordings, video journals, whatever you want to call them, to encourage myself and also look back, over time for myself and, see the progress that I made along the way. Even up to this point, it was a while where I wasn't doing this at all to anybody, like expressing myself to anybody, to my family, to anything, just all cooped up. So that's progress and success in and of itself, Still continue to learn and grow. But with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys enjoy the rest of your evening. I'm going to go and enjoy the rest of mine. And I will look forward to seeing you guys on the next Rogue Soul episode. All right. Bye-bye.